Hello everybody, welcome to me coughing. Banter Blitz with Jan Gustafsson, episode 69. Yeah, that's about it. You challenged me to a chess game of 5 minutes, because we've been through this. No fun to play 3 minutes, doesn't leave me enough time for the bantering. And I might or I might not accept your challenge. So I'm back to Hamburg. I spent the weekend playing chess German Cup. This is a very thinly veiled brag. I'm only bringing it up because I did win 2 chess games. My team Baden-Baden, we qualified for the finals. Had to defeat a very strong team in Deizisau, which we managed to do, but it was a very close match. So to get to the true point of this story, we played in Emmendingen, lovely town by the way, in the south of Germany. I had a train back on Sunday night at 6 p.m, but my game was finished at around 2, so I had a couple hours to kill. And I went to the movies. And normally I don't go to the movies alone, but I did this time, and I went at 2 p.m. The only movie showing in Emmendingen was Lego Batman, which, you know, is alright. I have to admit, I got a little tired of it at some point. I might have fallen asleep, but what was weird was the vibe, because who knew that if you go to the movies by yourself at 2 p.m. watching Lego Batman, that's not a common thing. And the only other people in that cinema were kids or kids accompanied by a responsible adult. So it was just kids and me sitting there alone with a lot of luggage, or with luggage, eating my popcorn, drinking my soda. And I am not quite sure what the kids and the people responsible for those kids thought of the creepy, slightly sleepy man sitting there in a row eating his popcorn, watching Lego Batman and their kids. But I do believe that I learned my lesson, that I should not go to the cinema alone at 2 p.m. on a Sunday. That's the advice you're gonna get today. Now let's get to flagging and whining and all the good stuff that makes this show what it is, a neurotic mess. With me wondering if I mispronounce neurotic. Challenges? Do we have challenges? I would like to have challenges. Oh, I have to abort my game against Claudia, I would guess. Yep, we got a bunch of challenges. Let's get this party started. But where? Wow, someone from South Korea? I don't think I ever played anybody South Korean. Like, in the old days, people used to collect country points for a different activity than playing somebody online. But I think you can transfer the same system to online chess. And I will herewith claim the country point of South Korea for having played Donatello in a chess game. I shall go for Donatello, by the way. That's Donatello with 2 letters switched around. And Donatello is one of the turtles. Am I correct so far? And is your name Dan or Dano? I might never figure this out. But we are playing the Trompovsky, and Donatello went for c5. Nowadays most people play d5, but c5 is certainly a very playable move. I kind of think bishop takes f6 is the critical reply, but since I like bishops too much, I will go for d5, which is also playable. Donatello blitzes out queen b6. He knows all about this line, and after queen b6, as far as I know, and I know pretty far, I am supposed to sacrifice this pawn with knight c3, queen takes b2, bishop back to d2. Doesn't look like a big deal, but I'm threatening rook b1 followed by knight b5, so Donatello has to go queen b6 back. And after e4, white is supposed to have full compensation. At least that's what the old textbooks say, and I believe even the computers do agree that white is doing alright here. He's a full pawn down, but he can grab space very, very quickly. It's not that easy for black to get mobilized. And black's extra pawn is, whatever, the b pawn. But if white goes a4, it's not going to be so easy for black to use it and play b5. So, long story short, I strongly dislike my position because I'm a pawn down. But the books are saying that this is sort of playable. Still, I'm frustrated that Donatello seems to be playing extremely well. I always get frustrated when my opponents play well. But so far, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's grabbed a pawn, finished development. I have to prove compensation. Not really my natural habitat. Is that the correct term? Habitat for humanity? A4, I don't know if I need it. But just biting my time. Here, I'm not sure how to create inroads into the black position. Maybe knight h4 makes some sense, hinting at knight f5. If g6, you know, it's weakening some squares. Maybe bishop h6, queen f3, some bishop g5 in the air. He does go g6, which is fairly logical. I changed my mind as I... changed my mind back. Oof, this is a roller coaster. I was going to go queen f3, threatening maybe bishop h6, followed by bishop g5. But then queen b4 started to bother me. Maybe wrongly so, because queen b4, even if I go queen e2, I can't see a better move for black than queen b6 back. So... who knows? Now the thing is, if I go bishop h6, it's not really obvious that... hang on. Bishop g5, bishop e7, d6, right? Let's try. What I was gonna say is, it's not obvious that I should actually... I'm doing some calculating here as we speak. I'll play d6 first and then talk about what I was calculating. After bishop takes d6, bishop f6, knight f6, queen f6, queen f6, rook f6, bishop e7. The game is not yet over. So I was wondering if I can win there with rook f7, rook f7, rook f1. But I think it's not that winning. Bishop takes h4, then rook takes f7. And it's a little murkier than I would like it to be. So I figured that after bishop takes d6, I should not take here, but instead go knight to d5, which seems to win the piece in a much cleaner fashion. Not sure if you guys could follow this, but that's why this show is so beautiful. You get all this lightning, sorry, all this burping, all this grandmasterly burping, and these lightning fast calculations. Well, now, yeah, I did manage to win the piece fairly cleanly, and the end is near. Bishop f5 is still there, but it does not save the day. Worst case scenario, I'll go rook takes f7, and Donatello instead resigns. I should have tried bishop f5, but yeah, as I said, ef5 or rook f7, or most sensible moves do win there, and that means I have accomplished the #1 goal I've had in life. Reach 3100 on Chess24. What else is there to do? I don't know. Probably play somebody else. What about Mr. Mickey B? Ambitious pawn does not like calculating Jan. That's what I do though. Like, behind my mellow, positional, chicken-esque chess style, there is a fierce calculator. And I'm only half kidding. I do believe that I'm better at I do this, he does that, than at like grand strategy, Grand Theft Auto. And Michi B, after a while, decided to play one d4, followed by two c4. Where's he from? From, I don't know, doesn't say. He goes knight f3, and I shall play my main move here, d5. I've dabbled on and off with b6, but d5 is still my main move. After bishop g5, bishop b4 tends to transpose to some sort of Vienna, unless white goes knight bd2. But I never got what all the knight bd2 fuzz was about, because I can grab the pawn and then hang on to it. White has some compensation, but nothing that impressive. Sometimes I overrate extra pawns slightly, but I do that because they are extra pawns. And here, yeah, it's hard for white to get his pawn back, so he has to play for this thing they call long-term compensation. Not sure I really believe in that concept, especially here. I don't really think things are that grim. I'm in time to stabilize. Don't even have to give up this bishop as far as I can tell. Go a6. Yeah, b3 is what they do in these situations, trying to get some play. But, you know, I like my pawns. How do I do this? b4 is possible. c6 is a bit ugly. It's also possible though. My first instinct was to play bishop d5, but then after queen c2, c6, he has e4, so I don't really want that. I guess I'll... b4 is a bit ugly though. Anything else? Rook b8 maybe? Looks slightly funny, but why not? He can't take, or takes, bishop b5. I should win material with bishop takes f3, followed by c6. Queen b5, there's also bishop takes f3. So it seemed fairly logical, and now I'm free to... I don't know how to finish that sentence. To do something. c5 maybe? Or bishop d5 first. So many options. Let's try this. Or is this just a blunder? Ugh, I don't like it when I just blunder. Bishop b5 I haven't actually figured out if I win material there. It did look shady, but maybe bishop takes b5 was possible. Who knows? Now I still have my extra pawn. I'm not planning to part with it anytime soon. Here? Why not? The only thing I like, not as much as extra pawns, but close to it, is bishops. So if I can grab a bishop while keeping my extra pawn, that's a day well spent in my book. Day well spent, do you say that? I don't know. Bishop f4, very deep. Rook c8. Why not? Gotta be a bit careful not to lose all these bishops that are hanging around on the 7th rank. But I have a feeling that I'll be able to keep them. Not sure I'll be able to complete sentences, but I should not blunder any of my bishops. Not today. Rook b1. Rook c2, queen b5. Not ideal. Bishop f3, knight f3. Oh, hang on. Rook c2, queen b5. I have this good old rook c1 trick. I have seen that trick many a times, and I've blundered it many a times. And it's still not a stored pattern in my weird mind, apparently, because it took me a while to spot it. But it's a useful little trick. Here we go. If he takes, queen takes b5, and if a move like knight f1, for example, rook takes f1 is pretty effective. So is queen takes b5. But I'll go with this one. And we can pre-move this because it irritates opponents if you pre-move, capturing their queen. Therefore, Michi B does resign. Yeah, remember this trick. It's a useful little trick to have. Queen b5, rook c1. Took me a while to spot, but always good little tactic. What else do we know? What can I tell you guys about my TV movie intake? So Lego Batman, yeah, don't go to a kids movie all by yourself. That's the life lesson I learned on the weekend. I did watch season 2 of Netflix's Love, which is an excellent show. I enjoy it. I don't know, it's like one of these half serious, half not serious comedy drama things, exploring broken people in Los Angeles, human relationships, whatever. But I enjoy it. I went through it very, very quickly. And I'm gonna play Mr. Khan. Oh, it's a 3-minute game. I keep saying it, but people don't listen to me. Mr. Khan, are you there? 3 minutes and not there. That might be too much for me to handle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No Khan. No can do, sir. Sorry. Let's play someone else. Penguin Do says, took me a while to realize Jan was saying Lego. Did I say Lego or Lego? In Germany we say Lego. But I would guess you crazy Americans do say Lego. Not sure what the crazy Swiss are saying, but we will find out by playing Livy. Blitz enemy, don't spoil John Wick. How could you spoil John Wick? Saying John Wick boring, just killing everybody. Now you've ruined it for me. Like, I do know that he kills 128 people, but that is a massive spoiler still. What if he spares somebody? Now I'll be sitting there and I already know that he kills everybody. Levy has probably not seen John Wick 2, and I feel guilty. I keep talking about it and then not seeing it. It's like, I don't know. At what point do you stop believing people that tell you they're going to do something? They never do it. Levy plays the London system, but the slightly worse move order with the knight already on f3. Here knight c3, cute little move. The main move is c3 or knight bd2. Knight c3 kind of transposes to a version of this, whatever this is called, the Verisov. I never get that name right. Whenever there's knight c3, my brain starts saying, go a6, don't allow any knight b5s. Maybe it's more precise to go cd first, but I couldn't fully figure out what happens after cd, knight b5. Normally this doesn't work, queen a5 check. That, you know, I wasn't sure. And a6, if dc5, e6. I have a feeling I'm gonna get my pawn back, even though knight a4, I'm not sure how happy I'll be. Because knight a4, I can get the pawn back with bishop takes c5, knight c5, queen a5 check. But then after c3, actually I like white's position with the two bishops. So I might have to question everything, as usual, after knight a4. And maybe do something else. Knight d7, looks a little clumsy. Levy decides not to argue over that pawn and let me have it. Fair enough too. Now white wants to castle and go for a quick e4. I don't think that black is worse here, but it's an obvious enough way to play the opening. Queen e7 has the naive little hope of going e5 followed by e4. Even though even that e5, bishop g5, e4, knight d5 would maybe become messier than I would like it to be. And no such luck against Levy, who does not allow me to execute that plan. Bishop d7, I understand. It's a painful move to make, offering this bishop. And I'm slightly regretting it already, but this bishop, you know, wasn't doing all that much. And before I take here, I at least want to give it the chance to set up shop on c6. Josh Chess, what kind of question is that? What is better, books or movies? It's obviously movies. Have you ever heard of a book based on a movie? You probably have. But like normally they bring out the books, but only in order to make movies about it. Like no one's ever done a standalone book and then not a movie. Is that true? I'm trying to think of a different example. But no. Nah, come on. Looks like we're discussing movies. Yeah, I've seen Split. I thought Split was good. The cliffhanger was idiotic, but everything else was good. Was it cliffhanger or the twist? Whatever. I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm just gonna say I didn't like it, but it got high praise on the internets. So my opinion might be the minority. Smux 2006 says, Jan, were you tempted by Skull Island? Yeah, I'll watch Skull Island for sure. I read some reviews that it's that the ape is real big. So what's not to like? As John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Jackson. My big question though, and don't spoil this for me, is does Samuel L. Jackson survive the movie? I think he normally does not survive movies with giant animals. Or did he survive the one with the snakes on the plane? Yeah, you could argue those aren't giant animals. And yeah, I watched Skull Island. Ambitious Pawn says Unbreakable. Is that a reference to this Unbreakable movie? I didn't really get that movie. I didn't really pay attention either when I was watching it, which might have been a problem. But I'm pretty sure Unbreakable. Sometimes you have to be broken in order to be put together. At least that's what they told me in the army. I'm not really sure I subscribe to that philosophy. I'm also not sure they told me that. What else are we discussing? Jan, are you from Hamburg? I am from Hamburg. Born and raised. Is that what they say? Born at least. The Born Ultimatum. Smash Shack is asking, Jan, is Fargo any good? You have to be more specific. Are we talking Fargo the movie, Fargo season 1, Fargo season 2? Probably they're all good, so yes, it's good. Hang on, Bishop h7? All this talk and I'm missing Bishop h7. Wow, nice little tactic there for Levy. Bishop h7, oh, do I have counter tactics? Probably not. Knight h7, queen takes d4, but e4. Rook e7, and I take on c3. Okay, nothing to see here. Are you watching the show, Levy? Why would you do that? Maybe you missed the part where I said it doesn't work. That's odd. My own panic got Levy to blunder a piece. Probably Levy is watching the show, looking for clues. I mainly talked about movies, not giving away too many clues, but still. All right, let's get this over with. You don't even want to fight with me, man. What was that? Hoping for a checkmate here. Might not happen. Kadu Ortolan figured it out. Tolstoy did write War and Peace so people can make a movie. I'm sure there's a bunch of movies about war and peace. I tried reading that. I made an honest effort in my days where I thought like I need to fake being educated, and I couldn't make it through. Like I read the first, let's say, 200-300 pages. Nothing happened. Some dude traveled from somewhere to somewhere, probably from Moscow to St. Petersburg or somewhere else, and I gave up. Which I understand is probably not the educated opinion to have on this great classic, but I just couldn't do it. I believe, who told me? I think Svidler told me that there is a name drop, that there is a Russian miniseries based on War and Peace. So maybe that's the correct amount of War and Peace intake for me. As for the high culture stuff, I'm still catching up with Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse. I like Hesse. He's very smart, but probably it's not the... Or I don't know if he's smart. Probably that means a lot to him, like me calling him smart. Probably Steppenwolf is not the kind of book that I should be reading. Doesn't make me less psychotic, neurotic, depressed, whatever you want to call it. But it is excellent, and I'm still greatly enjoying it, even though I did read it a long, long time ago. And yeah, I'm not sure if there is a Steppenwolf movie. I have to find that out. I did win on time against Levy here in the meantime. Very mean. By the way, today is a shorter show than usual. It's just going to be an hour because I'm the lead-in for Miss Tactics and her tactics test, Sopiko Guramishvili. So it's just gonna be an hour, but you can stick around. More shows coming up on that chess 24s. I thought I accepted some challenge. Hang on. Why is this still here? Why are you still here? It's a question I hear way too often. I'm not very good at judging when I overstate my welcome, which is probably why we're still doing the show. Here we go. Classical chess is best. 1500. 1500s are always scary because it doesn't mean that's their playing strength. It means it's their first game ever. He hasn't played anything. So he could very well be world champion of chess, especially classical chess. So fortunately for me, this is a blitz game. Because imagine I had to face Mr. Classical Chess is best in classical chess. Don't want to do that. We are playing the Grunfeld. People are telling me there is lag. I don't like that. Why are you lagging? Do we have collective lag? Do I need to do something about it? Or can I just wing it as usual and talk my way out of the lag? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. We are playing the old... Is this the classical main line? Is that why you're playing it? Mr. Classical Chess is best. Is bishop c4, knight e2. Used to be extremely popular in the old days. And I played it quite a bit with white. When everybody after castles, knight c6, bishop e3, went bishop g4, f3, knight a5. And you have all these crazy lines after bishop d3 or bishop takes f7. But in recent times, some alternatives have emerged that are considered to be fine for black, b6 being one of them. Knight a5 followed by b6, another one. Bishop d7 or bishop g4 followed by bishop d7 is also considered to be playable. So bishop c4, a little less popular nowadays. Not because it's been refuted, but mainly because black has too many options. This b6 stuff, as far as I understand, is a fairly typical pawn sacrifice in the Grunfeld. After dc5, you can normally just ignore it, go queen c7. And after cb, ab, black is a pawn down, but the b6 pawn is normally not really much weaker than the a2 and c3 pawn. So I do believe that it tends to be a playable idea, even though don't quote me on the specifics. So the move orders, maybe you have to start with knight a5. Sometimes you have to go bc5 too. Overall, I do think that it's quite playable. So I've finished mobilizing and I'm gonna have to start thinking about what to do next at some point. Which, you know, that's what you do in your late 20s. And sometimes it's not pretty. Not saying I'm in my late 20s. Knight a5 is kind of typical. e6 could be another half waiting move to make. What else is there? Sometimes I go e5 nowadays, these sickos. But no, I didn't mean you. Classical chess is best. e5 I can take. I meant black. Knight e5 or bishop e5. Let's say bishop. That does strike me as a mistake. I'll pre-move this because I like pre-moving, capturing my opponent's queen, as we've established. And bishop f4 will not solve any of the problems. Maybe it's one of the problems, like h2 is no longer hanging, but it won't solve all the problems. cd, knight d5, nah, who cares? Hang on, here I have to think this through. Rook d4, queen d4, knight d4, bishop f7, king f7, rook c7, rook d1, and I win. Yay! I like thinking things through where I win in the end. I dislike them when I don't. Did I say rook takes d1? I think that was my think through line here. I'm lucky that I'm still winning, but amazing calculating skills, transforming this knight into a rook. Yay me. But had I said this, which of course is what I meant, I didn't mean that at all, then I would have been right. Wow, I thought my knight was a rook. That's a little scary. Imagine you had a knight that looked like a rook. Yeah, don't calculate like that, but I got lucky that e5 was still winning. Thanks for the game. Classical chess is best. You do have the excuse that was a bit of a slow game. Let's play... Oh, I think I clicked on somebody else than I was gonna say. But you know the rules. The rules I made up. If I clicked on somebody, guts to play them. Unless they're not premium, then you don't guts to play them. Ah, no, that's not English. White Iron Tiger. His real name is Tiger Flying. I'm not sure that is your real name. And his profile picture is not really a tiger, it's a dragon. Who are you trying to kid? White Iron Tiger. I will play the London, since I'm working on all these things. These lines are on my mind. But yeah, I'm not a big London believer. Classically they go knight f3, h3, e3, bishop h2, take it from there. Knight c3 is a bit more en vogue these days. If bishop g7, e4, and even though the bishop is not perfect on f4, it's normally not what black players want. Well, after d5 they want to go queen d2 and opt for a very quick bishop h6. Not saying this is winning, but it's a line people play. What do we do? Bishop h6 looks like the obvious way to eliminate the fact that this bishop looked a little funny on f4. Since once it's on h6, no one will know if it came from e3 or from g5 or from f4. I don't know, this could very well be a theoretical position. Something like takes followed by c5 strikes me as vaguely familiar. I don't know what to do. Knight f3. Not sure. The knight belongs on f3 here. Long castles was a move. f3 was a move. Many a move. Alright, give me that. I don't think I'm playing this one well. Just so you know, I do have the cheapo threat of de followed by knight takes e5, which has won many people many a game. And it looks like it might find another victim. But if White Iron Tiger had avoided that by starting with queen e7, I think he would have been in perfectly good shape. So don't try this at home. Don't try this at home normally means it has to be expertly handled, which is not really the case, it's just not very good. What are we talking about? Peert's defense, Ice-T still inquiring if I am from Hamburg or live in Hamburg. And yes, I am from Hamburg and I do live in Hamburg. I thought we addressed that, but I also do have the goldfish memory thing. Player number 5. I grew up listening to Jan, so German accents is correct English to me. I like to think that my accent is not that German, but probably it is. I've heard worse. I mainly struggle, well, this once again is how I view myself, might not be very based in reality. I mainly struggle with verbal cadence when I speak English. Like I randomly pronounce words that shouldn't be pronounced in that case. And I have to watch my TH, as all the Germans. But I like to think that my accent is not that Germanesque. Germanesque? But yeah, no clue. I do believe that my accent can change quickly depending on who I've been hanging out with. But yeah, I guess this slightly more robotic sounding thingy, it's hard to completely get rid of. And what else are we missing? Do you know the Pantera Rodizio restaurant in Hamburg? I do know, I think 2 of them, right? One in Portugiesenviertel or next to it, next to the Michel, and I think there's another one. Yes, we have so much in common, Ice-T. We know all the good meat places. Danotello is wondering, Jan, when is your next opening clinic? I don't know. We can do one should I promise one? I'm busy with this series and then I have another thing in the works. But yeah, it's been a while, so I'll see if I can fit one into the schedule. Little secret, these opening clinics, a lot of work and less viewers. But I do think that they might help, or at least be useful for one or two of our beloved premium members. So I'll certainly do another one. But yeah, they're exhausting and I get so many questions. As for the game, I picked up a pawn somewhere. And I'm not willing to give it back. Should I take this? Feels a little greedy. Yeah, I have to be humble for once. Bishop b7, rook c5, and I wasn't sure if there's f4, bishop f5. If there's maybe some nagging counterplay. All right. What else are we discussing? New Radio Jan show? I don't know. I have no control over that dude. It's like, you guys saw the movie Split, right? It's like that. I like hanging with Van Vele, I see. I do like Lukey Boy. I should probably stop staring at the chat, but I'll take some more questions. Do you play Pierce yourself with black sometimes in normal time controls? I do not. I used to. I grew up playing quite a bit of Pierce. It's an easy advanced beginner's opening because, yeah, you don't have to know that much theory and the schemes tend to be similar, but I don't think it's that great an opening, so no, I don't really play it. Like, I wouldn't rule it out. Playing the modern in a must-win situation, that is a choice. Many strong people take once in a while, but it's not part of my normal repertoire. Chessplayer007 says, Jan, when is your series coming out? I have no clue. Gotta finish it first, then it has to make it through post-production. And yeah, at some point, I don't know. Agricola Superbass, go premium before you ask all these theory questions. Those are the rules, I'm sorry guys. I don't know, those aren't the rules, I just make up stuff. Ambitious Pawn, he was hoping for some TV series recommendations. What did I say? Yeah, I mentioned I do like the Netflix show Love. I do like this other mild comedy thingy called One Day at a Time. I thought was excellent. I hated, to my surprise, I strongly hated it. The Amy Schumer, what's called the Leather Special on Netflix, was surprisingly terrible. I did not think it would be that terrible. But yeah, it seems like critics haven't been very kind to it either. I did dare White Iron Tiger into taking that. So TV recommendations. Yeah, I don't get that much TV intake these days. I've been watching some old movies, but probably you guys aren't that interested in those. I saw Fast Times at Richmond High, which seemed to be a beloved classic. I've heard people refer to it so often I thought I have to watch it. Nothing happens in that movie. Like, you should never watch the classics. Sometimes they are very disappointing. It's like trying to read War and Peace. I did enjoy Sean Penn. The Spicoli character was the only good thing about it. Else nothing happens. And it didn't have a point of view. It didn't tell me this is good or bad. It's just a bunch of, yeah, I don't know. Didn't do it for me. I watched what's called Sling Blade. That was excellent. With Billy Bob Thornton playing a, I don't know, a complicated man. Or a simple man, depending on your point of view. That's an excellent movie, recommended. I watched Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman, some Sam Peckinpah movie from, is it the 90s or the 80s? Probably the 80s. I don't know, mixed feelings about that one. Some very graphic violence. And yeah, this weird fake morality, like we'll show you lots of violence, but then we're gonna be very moral and say we strongly condone? No, we don't condone violence. So yeah, it was a weird movie to watch, the Straw Dogs. I haven't really decided if I like it or not. It's thought-provoking, which is, I guess is a good thing. Is that it? Is that my movie intake? Yeah, that and Lego Batman, which, yeah, I don't know. F. Marshall. Frank Marshall? I'm reading, the chat is bringing up Dazed and Confused. I haven't seen that either. There's many classics I'm missing. I also have not seen Animal House. What else? La Boom I haven't seen. I'm slightly too young for those to be part of my regular movie watching diet. And nowadays, do you really want to go back and watch all these 80s teenage party movies? The answer is yes, of course. And I will. Whoa, hang on here. So, we played the exchange Spanish, bishop c6, dc. Frank Marshall played d3. Innocuous enough move, I thought. Oh, castles is normal. After f6, he's gone knight takes e5, blitzed out. Which I'm assuming is some well-known trick, only unknown to me. But I'll bite. Give me the point, of course, is queen h5 check. g6, no good. King e7 looks possible. Queen e5, king f7, and king d7 looks possible. King d7, queen f5, king d6. Sure, let's find out. I am a very, very materialistic person and chess player, so I tend to like the side with the extra material here. And yeah, looks like F. Marshall has done his homework here. But sometimes you do your homework and you're still wrong. You can still fail class even though you have done all this homework, which must be even more frustrating than not doing your homework. Still, I do have to defend for a little while. But it does look defendable. That's another eternal question, which I can never figure out. Defendable or defensible. Normally, whenever I ask natives, they tell me, yeah, whatever. You can say both. In this case, I would say defendable. And normally it's always that they would say defendable in that very case. So I tend to err on the side of defendable. However, the position is still both defendable and defensible. Does look like people did not like Amy Schumer especially. It was shocking how terrible it was, right? I really didn't think it could be that terrible, but it was. My position, I'm not sure how much I like it, to be honest with you. Knight d5 is a move I'd like to play. Then queen h3 check, king c6, e d5 is check, which is very unfortunate. And king e7, queen h4 check, g5, bishop d6, nah. I don't know. I'll pretend like there were no queens on the board. And then in the Berlin, sometimes you put your king on c6. Might as well do it here. Chess player 007 is asking, Jan, do you cover the Blackmar-Diemer gambit in your series? Hasn't been high on my to-do list, to be honest with you. But my move order would be d4, knight f6. Then in order to go for this Blackmar-Diemer, you go knight c3, d5, e4, or what do you do? But then knight takes e4 looks winning already, right? So there you go, I just covered it for you. Ambitious Pawn is saying Logan is like Radio Wolverine, bitter, angry, and drunk. Nah, it's just the first movie that got the character right. I think I gave the same speech last time, right? But all this regret, the self-loathing for, yeah, my main skill is cutting people into pieces. a bit like... I don't know what my main skill is. F Marshall is giving me a run for my money here. Can't say I'm enjoying this much. I kind of missed Queen E4 too, which is unfortunate. Oof. Problems. Calculating phase. I'll try this. I'm not quite sure this works, but I couldn't think of a good move. I did have a point though. If he takes, which he should, rook to f8, I thought that wherever the queen goes, I can capture on f4 with tempo. But as usual, I missed one little square. I missed that he can go queen to h7. Still an unclear position after knight f4, ed, queen g5 or something. I might have enough play, but not quite sure. This is how you're supposed to play chess. Chess player 007, yeah, I addressed that move order. He's saying the move order would be, I imagine, d4, knight f6, knight c3, d5, e4. But let's forget for a second that this is known as whatever, it's called the Blackmar-Demer gambit. And you see the position after 1 d4, knight to f6, knight c3, d5 for the first time. Would you go e4 there, giving up a central pawn for nothing? No, you would not. Or I don't know, maybe you would, but you shouldn't, let's put it that way. So yeah, I don't think that's an opening. And I don't think you should worry about it as black. Just take the pawn. I should worry about my position here and stop stalling. This is not easy. I have a feeling that with a very heavy heart, I might have to give the piece back. I've also been a bit slow. Good news is I'm still doing all right. Or probably I'm actually much better now because d3 is falling. Yeah, very interesting game against F Marshall. Some sick ideas by Mr. Marshall. I've been taught that in an endgame, the king is an active piece, and you have to have him do stuff. It's always a bit scary to be dealing with this horsey, because I'm only one knight fork away from disaster. Chess player 007, I'm done discussing this line. You're much better with black. In that position, you figure out the rest. That's really, at some points, you gotta be pragmatic with your opening studies. If you have a clear advantage after 3 moves with black, you don't need to spend more time on that position. Because there's so many lines where you don't have a clear advantage after 3 moves with black. You might want to focus on these. I'm not sure. I'm probably giving my usual condescending passive-aggressive advice in that. Yeah, I've never looked at that. But I honestly don't think it's much of a problem. I also don't think that F Marshall stands much of a chance here anymore, but he did play a good game. He's trying to flag the flagger. Not gonna be able to do it. All right, let's go home. Ah, see? That would have given him a reason to continue. Had I played rook e3, no one would ever resign against me. Ever again. Now F Marshall has seen enough. And we'll play one last game. Then I will leave the floor to Miss Tactics Sopiko Guramishvili, who, I don't know, is she doing, I think she's doing her tactics test. I don't know, should I do that at some point, like solve tactics exercises? Felt it's less interactive, but it might be even more embarrassing for me, because I will probably fail horribly. Maybe we'll do one of those shows. Might check out Sopiko's. Alright, last gamey game. Let's choose without looking. If that's always a tricky proposition, because I still have to click the general accept vicinity. Did I? I think I clicked on something. Let's go. Mr. Choose Me for Banter. Excellent name. Like coming straight to the point. No small talk. Just, you know what? Choose me for banter. Here we go. D4, knight f6, c4. What can I do? Is it me or am I black every game today and people are playing d4, c4? I have that feeling. b6 is one of those moves that is slightly less ridiculous than it looks, which is the main good thing about it. I've played it in a tournament game once, did not enjoy the experience much though. After f3, I think I'm supposed to go d5. And after cd knight d5, e4, knight c3, bc g6, we would actually, or I would actually get a decent sort of Grunfeld, because white has committed to f3, which is not really what you want against a Grunfeld. So this is one of the more playable lines for black, I would guess. But there's some other problems, like 4 queen c2, I thought was annoying. Now we get something similar to this Grunfeld we played earlier, but with the pawn already on f3, where admittedly it does defend e4, so it's not useless there at all. But still, seems like, you know, pretty decent version of things. I will once again insist on blundering this pawn. Not sure that's necessary, but it's possible. Is this the same position I had last game? We might freakishly have transposed to this. Freakishly? That's a word. I'm sure freakishly is a word. Jeff784 says, "Hi, watch the movie The Hotspot. You will like it." I'll check it out. I was told, what was I told? Get Out is supposed to be a good movie, so I'm excited about that. I will one day watch Skull Island and, of course, John Wick #2. I heard Get Out was good. I heard, what else is coming out? What's it called? Life of Zeno, what's it called? I can't remember. But there's some good movies coming out now. That's what I've been told. And why would people lie to me about the movies coming out? What do you have to gain by deceiving me about upcoming movies? Nothing, my dear boy. It's good that this is the last game. Queen a4. Hang on. I shall fork you up. Not sure if a6 had to be done. That's too tempting. Maybe it didn't have to be done. Who's talking to me? I will talk to you back. Even though normally I don't like people that talk back. Supposed to go e6 here or not? That I find one of the tougher questions to answer in all these Grunfelds. When e6 is a good move and when it's not. I'm sure knight a5 or knight e5 were perfectly fine, but since I won 1.5 tempi earlier after this queen a4, queen d1 adventure, I'm feeling a little frisky and I feel I might be in time to challenge the center with e6. Bishop b3 looks like a good move. c4 looks possible. Bishop c4, knight a5. Anything smarter? No, let's do this. c4 just to, I understand it's losing a pawn, but to stop him from going c3 to c4 at any point. Not sure it's best. ed5 was perfectly reasonable, or knight a5. But I thought it was cute. Not sure I'm better though, after bishop b3 takes. Still looks fairly balanced. I did get the bishops, but white gets this d4 square. Ooh, and I blundered this. Oof. Oh, that's a pretty serious blunder, just as I was sort of self-righteously explaining all my great accomplishments. But there you go. This is changing things a little bit. And now I'm an exchange down. Fighting for survival. That's the good old pattern recognition thing. Normally you don't have a6 in these positions, which now with hindsight he expertly provoked earlier by going queen a4 and then back. Didn't enter my mind at all that, you know, you can just take that pawn. And yeah, here objectively I'm lost. Still, I do have the two bishops, so I can try to be nosy, but nosy is not the word. Try to pose some problems. But objectively, I should pay for my sins here. Sounds a bit dramatic. Also should be careful not to leave too many pieces hanging. No knight forks yet. I hope not. But yeah, this is not a great position. c4 might ask some unpleasant questions. Like, what are you planning to do with your a2 bishop? Rook fd1 is also a perfectly sensible move. But now at least I know what I'm planning to do with this bishop, which is not blunder it. Back to base. And here, the material disadvantage is sort of not fatal yet. I'm seriously worse, but sometimes with the two bishops against rook and knight, you have at least a fighting chance. I gotta be very precise though, because my king is also a little weak. Yeah, maybe it is pretty bad. But it's not totally hopeless. Okay, one good move. I don't really want to give that pawn, but rook a8 looks a bit passive. Queen c6 looks unpleasant. Well, things aren't great. Of course, there is plan B, as usual. But I gotta pretend that plan B is not plan A, with all this talk about compensation, two bishops, blah, bloop, blah. Something like that. Still trying to muddy the waters here. Rook takes a4. Big calculator. But hang on, I can calculate back. And yeah, now I won a piece, and that does not help. Choose me for Banter's chances combined with the clock situation, but here I'm objectively winning too. But whoa, bit of a scare there in the last game after this massive blender. I do own a massive blender. That sounds like a dirty word. I don't know if it means anything dirty, but blender does sound a little dirty. Anyway, after this huge blunder, I just, didn't see it coming at all. This bishop takes b6. Here, I'm kind of lost. I got lucky. Thank you for the game. Choose me for Banter. You're welcome that I did, albeit randomly, choose you for Banter. Now switch to Sopiko's Tactics Show if you haven't gotten your daily chess fix yet. Thanks for all the questions, all the suggestions, all the whatever, all the good stuff. Thanks for still being here after all these episodes. I do appreciate it. Go premium if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.